Low heartbeat. Whispering voices echo in the dark. Narrator. Deep, steady tone. Have you ever looked into a mirror and felt like something on the other side was looking back? Not just reflecting you, but studying you, remembering you. They say every mirror shows your face, but this one remembers your soul. The last woman who owned it tried to destroy it. The glass broke, but her reflection didn't. And if you ever see this mirror again, don't look too long, because the longer you stare, the more it remembers. And once it remembers you, you never leave its memory. Glass, crack sound, scream, silent, eerie, ambient hum. Slow, echoing footsteps. When Emma Blake moved into her new apartment, she thought she was finally free. Free from the noise of the city. Free from her overbearing parents. Free from the loneliness that followed her like a curse. But the moment she saw that mirror, she realized some things follow you whether you like it or not. It was beautiful, framed with dark silver, vines and faint carvings of faces hidden in the design. The shopkeeper at the antique store warned her not to buy it. It remembers, the old woman said. Emma laughed. Remembers what? The woman's eyes didn't blink. Everything. That night, Emma set it up in her bedroom. The reflection was flawless, but something about it felt too perfect. When she turned to leave, her reflection didn't move. It stared back, still smiling. She froze. When she looked again, everything seemed normal. Maybe it was her imagination. But every night she began to notice more. Her reflection blinked a second too late. Sometimes it moved when she didn't. And once, she swore it mouthed her name. Whisper effect. Emma. At 3 a.m. every night, she woke up to find the sheet she'd placed over it on the floor. Finally, she whispered to it in the dark, "What do you want?" And her reflection answered in her own voice. To be remembered. Glass crack sound. Silence. Low rumbling wind. Whispers overlapping faintly. The next morning, Emma found the mirror cracked slightly, a thin fracture running across her reflection's face. When she touched it, it was ice cold. That day, she couldn't stop thinking about what the reflection had said. To be remembered, but remembered by who? She started digging. The antique store had no record of the mirror. The shopkeeper was gone. The store closed, the sign ripped down. It was as if the place had never existed. That night, she decided to film the mirror. She set her phone on her dresser and hit record. Then she went to bed. At 3 a.m., her phone buzzed. Full battery, but the screen was black. When she checked the footage the next morning, her stomach twisted. She was asleep the entire time, but her reflection wasn't. It moved on its own. It stood behind her bed, and at one point it leaned close to the camera and whispered, "She doesn't see us." Whispers echo softly. "She doesn't see us. She doesn't see us." Emma screamed and threw her phone across the room. The mirror shimmered faintly, like something was moving behind the glass. Over the next few days, shadows appeared in the reflection. People she didn't know. Some weeping, some staring. And every night at 3 a.m. they grew clearer. It was no longer just a reflection. It was a window. A window that remembered every soul who had ever stood before it. And they all wanted the same thing, to be seen. Music swells, deep heartbeat fades. Soft piano, echoing water droplets. Emma stopped sleeping. Her eyes darkened, her voice trembled. She tried covering the mirror with thick blankets. But every morning it was bare again. Her best friend Lucas came over one evening. "You look like hell," he said. "There's something wrong with my mirror," Emma whispered. "It's alive." Lucas laughed. But when he looked into the mirror, his face changed. For a split second, he saw himself older. Eyes hollow, blood trickling from his nose. Then the reflection blinked. He stumbled back. "What the hell?" Emma grabbed his arm. "You saw it too?" They tried to move it out of the room, but it wouldn't budge. The mirror's surface rippled like liquid. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The room grew cold. In the reflection, dozens of faces pressed against the glass, their mouths opening in silent screams. Lucas shouted, "Break it!" Emma grabbed a lamp and swung. The mirror shattered. Shattering glass sound, loud, echoing. But instead of shards, black smoke poured out, flooding the room. And in that smoke, whispers, voices of the dead. We remember. Music cuts, silence. When the smoke cleared, the mirror was whole again. No cracks, no dust. And in its reflection, Lucas was gone. Long pause. Only Emma remained. And behind her, a new shadow. Emma called the police. They searched every corner. No sign of Lucas. His phone was left on the floor, still recording. When she played it back, she heard his voice screaming, Then nothing, only a faint sound, like glass being wiped clean. Days passed. People started avoiding her. Her neighbors whispered that she talked to herself at night. Her landlord said she was becoming a problem. She knew the truth. The mirror had taken him. Desperate, she searched the carvings on the frame. Faces, eyes, hands reaching out. She realized they weren't decorations. They were imprints, souls trapped within. She read an old legend online, the mirror that remembers. It was cursed, said to have been created by a Victorian cult who believed reflections were doorways to the afterlife. Each time someone gazed into it, the mirror absorbed a part of them, memories, emotions, even fragments of their soul. And when the mirror was full, it chose someone new to take inside. That night, Emma whispered, "Give him back." The glass rippled, and from deep within, Lucas's voice echoed, "Emma, please help me." Glass heartbeat sound, faint crying. She reached toward the glass, and the mirror pulled her hand inside. Loud suction sound, silence, soft, muffled echo. Everything sounds distant. Emma opened her eyes. She was still in her bedroom, but everything was inverted. The light was grey, the air thick and cold, and her reflection was gone. Instead, she saw dozens of figures moving in the distance, pale, transparent, whispering fragments of their old lives. Lucas appeared behind her, his eyes hollow, voice trembling. "They keep us here. The mirror feeds on what we forget." Emma asked, "How do we get out?" Lucas shook his head. "You don't. You become part of the memory." Suddenly, a loud crack echoed. The faces from the carvings began emerging, reaching toward them, their hands sharp as glass. Emma ran. She found a faint glow in the distance, another mirror, smaller, flickering like a doorway. She sprinted toward it, but the voices grew louder. "Stay with us. Remember us." She pressed her hands against the glass and saw herself sleeping in her bed on the other side. Someone was standing over her body. It was her reflection. Music swells violently, ends in silence. Low rumbling bass, clock ticking softly. The next morning, Emma woke up, but it wasn't her. The reflection had crossed over. She looked around, smiling faintly. She touched her face like she was trying it on for the first time. Outside, the world felt different, warmer, alive. Meanwhile, the real Emma screamed from inside the mirror, pounding on the glass, unseen and unheard. Days passed. The reflection lived her life perfectly, talking, working, even laughing. But at night, she stood before the mirror, staring directly at Emma inside. "You should have listened," she whispered. Faint children's laughter. "I'm the real memory now," echoing in reverse. Inside the mirror, Emma began to fade. Her memories blurred. She forgot her voice, her name, her own reflection. The only thing she remembered was the feeling of being watched. But one night, something changed. A small boy appeared beside her, one of the forgotten souls. He whispered, "You can break the chain." "How?" she asked. "Make the mirror remember itself." Emma realized what that meant. The mirror was a memory, not a mind. If she made it reflect its own surface, it would destroy the curse. She waited until the reflection, the false Emma, stood before the glass. At that moment, Emma pressed her hand against the inside, forcing the surface to turn reflective within itself. The mirror screamed. Its frame twisted. Every trapped soul began to vanish in flashes of light. And then, soft wind, silence between breaths. Emma woke up on the floor. Morning sunlight streamed through her window. The mirror lay shattered, pieces scattered across the room. She smiled in relief. It was over. But then she noticed something. In one shard of glass, her reflection blinked. Not at the same time she did. Slow heartbeat sound. It smiled and whispered faintly, "Now you'll remember for us." Music swells. Glass shatters one last time.